Good morning, everyone. Today in Autism Mama Bear Talk, we have very special guests. My mom and dad in law, Charles and Oleen Tinsley, also known as grandparents, Autism Grandparents. And I invited them to my show to discuss the blessings and also the difficulties of helping to raise a grandchild with autism. So if you have any questions, if you're a grandparent yourself of a child with autism or any learning disability, please feel free to ask live questions. We're here to answer all your questions. Thank you for tuning in. And right now, we begin with the diagnosis. Mom, Dad, when Michael was diagnosed in 2010, I want you to share with the audience, with other grandparents, what feelings were going through your heart, through your mind, what thoughts, because autism was not very common. I mean, nobody knew what autism was. So when you learned about that, what was going on in your head? What did you think? Dad, Mom?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have any idea what it was, what it meant,
Yeah.
and it's been a learning process since we first heard, discovering what actually the term autism. I had never heard the word. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever even heard the word autism before, and so we've been learning all the areas we need to understand about what it means to have autism.
Yeah.
And we still don't know it all. I mean, we're still learning, and it
Absolutely.
probably will continue to learn as the years go by.
Dad, what?
At first, it was disbelief, sadness, anger at what vaccines can do to children. And I've learned to live with it because we love Michael with all our hearts. But it's a learning process. My anger is not there anymore because I'm still angry at what vaccine do to children.
Yes.
But I just feel so sad that Michael goes through this. But I'm persuaded that God is going to help him,
Absolutely.
and I'm looking for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. But when Michael was diagnosed, and then we started learning all the processes that we had to go through, the therapy, the early intervention program, change of the diet,
Yes,
it was like a complete 180 degrees comparing to other grandchildren, right?
yes. I think all these diets and therapies,
Neurotypical,
pardon,
neurotypical,
all these I think work together.
neuroacupuncture.
Yeah, acupuncture. Yes, what I'm trying to think of. Work together for his good.
Amen.
But I think acupuncture really worked because in New Mexico he came back counting 1 to 10, counting backwards from 10 to 1. But all these factors contribute to his betterment. He's a very clever child.
Yes, he is.
He's just nonverbal. He doesn't speak, but he's very clever. He learns very easy, does what you tell him to do, usually. But he knows what you say when you tell him anything. He knows exactly what you say.
Oh, yes.
But he just can't respond to you and let you know. And that just breaks my heart when he tries to speak to me and I can't understand him.
I know. Mom, anything you want to add? I mean, how did Michael's autism affect your life, everyday life?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, because he doesn't understand dangers, and he would take things, ingest things that was dangerous.
Yeah.
He would do things that he could get hurt easily. And how to communicate to him that there's this danger. This is you can't do this. And even how to discipline them, I had no clue, and I still don't know.
Yeah.
I don't understand how to communicate to him the danger, because as the years have gone by, he's gotten older, and we've gotten weaker. And of course, we don't keep him every day like we did when he was smaller.
Yes.
We could keep up with him then, but now he's gotten older, and so we have to have the locks on the doors and
Yes.
with the keys. And
that's the thing, folks. Our house is a Fort Knox, but Mom and Dad's house as well is a Fort Knox. Locks everywhere, padlocks, windows secured. There is one specific playroom for Michael that he is free to go wherever he wants, do whatever he wants, with tons of toys, and it's a play area for him designated specifically for Michael when he comes and stays with his grandparents. So it really takes a village to raise a child, especially a child on the spectrum. So as you can see, it affects lives not only of the immediate family of mommy and daddy and sister or brother, but grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever is involved in the life of a child with autism. So that's exactly right.
I might add this, Lula.
Uh-huh.
The fact that we have to hold his hand because
Yes.
he runs. If
Yes.
you let go of him, he runs, and he's very fast, like a deer running, and he's hard to catch.
Yes.
So we have to hold his hand at all times. And my hope and faith is that one day he'll have a place he can run
Yes.
to his heart's content and not have to worry about him.
Mm-hmm. I know.
because he would be lost, because that's why we have to keep the locks. So he would go out the door and you might not see him again ever, because he doesn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
You can't,
I
there's
know.
dangers out there in the world, so
That's the problem.
that's the hard thing.
That's-
The confinement he has to have,
Yeah.
and the failure. He can do things that other children can do, like go to the playground and just go and play. You have to be so scrutinized in everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, in Cyprus, when he was very small,
Mm-hmm.
I was unlocking the door, holding on to him best I could, and he broke loose and ran into the night. I ran after him, yelling his name. He disappeared in the night and just broke my heart. I didn't know what to do.
Yes.
He went in one direction, I went in the other. We used to walk with him, and I didn't know which way to go. So I went up down the streets looking for him, yelling for him. Got in my car, went up down the roads where we used to drive with him, and finally got back to the home. And the neighbor was out looking, Cyprus was out looking for him, and I drove up, and they said they found him, and two men came walking down with him, and he ran to me and jumped up in my arms, and that was such a blessing to see him, that he was safe.
And again, this brings me to the next question: autism and faith,
Mhm.
because I believe that this was just divine protection of our son, and we never met those men before, and we never saw them
Again,
and it was a very small community, very small neighborhood.
Mhm.
So those two men that brought Michael to Papa and Yaya appeared out of nowhere and just brought him safe. Nonverbal child, how would they know where to bring the child,
Mhm.
right?
yes, so that's a mystery. I think I know who they were, but I will not share that at this time.
Yes, I believe so. So, autism is like a death sentence at first. When you don't understand it, when you see only the dark side, when you see all the challenges, but you don't really know where to go, what to do.
Mhm.
And you're a man of faith, you're a woman of faith, you're both ministers, you were missionaries in Cyprus for almost 30 years, and serving the Lord faithfully and sacrificing so much. And then you have a grandson with autism. How did this affect your faith?
Okay, I'll speak first.
Yeah.
I know God is God, and He could touch him at any time and heal him.
Yes.
So, and I know He doesn't make any mistakes. So, we pray many times for him to be healed.
Yeah.
God hasn't chosen to heal him, and I know God's ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. So we just believe God, because He asks us every day, "Do you trust me?"
Mhm.
And we do. We do trust Him, that He knows what He's doing, because all things work together for good.
Amen.
So
Amen.
God has allowed this for His own purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand it at first.
Yes.
It seemed to be no hope, and we've heard of children that began to talk,
Mhm.
they led normal lives.
Yes.
And so we're trusting God for that.
Yeah.
And knowing that He does all things well. And we're just trying to live every day with that hope that He is in control,
Hmm.
because He's God and He knows what's best. So
Exactly.
we just wait on Him and look unto Him to do what's right.
I believe my faith has increased with Michael.
Mm.
Seeing not only him, I had never realized how many children there were,
Yeah.
special needs children. I mean, just thousand upon thousand upon thousand of them that need help, just like Michael does. And I wasn't aware of that
Hmm.
until this happened with us with Michael. But the night that he disappeared, I'll just say this one thing. I cried out to God with all my soul
Yes.
that night. And he heard me and he came to me. And so, grandparents, anywhere you are looking, when you're in desperation, don't know what to do, cry out and say, God, help me,
Mhm.
help me, and He will. He will help you. So my faith has increased, been made aware of more children like this, special needs children, and my heart goes out to them. I go to the school and I see the children in his school in wheelchairs and can't walk and all sorts of ailments these children have. So my faith in God has increased. It's not diminished at all. It's increased.
Yeah.
And I'm trusting God every day. And I'm praying every day that God will heal Michael. And I believe He will in His own time.
Yes. As
we know that all things, as Mama said, work together for good to them that love God, them are called according to His purpose. So we're just trusting God. So it's helped me a lot, I think, in my faith.
I know, me too. And even though sometimes it seems like there's no hope, it's when the things go really bad and Michael has meltdown, tantrums, and the loose bowels and everything messed up. Leaky gut is inflamed again, and bad food choices, mostly on our part when we go and just it's okay.
Yeah.
And then consequences are terrible for Michael. But when it's like really when he's bouncing off the walls and ceiling, and when you're alone, you really feel like, oh gosh, God, where are you? Where are you now? Please look down, and not because of me, but because of this poor boy. But then people start praying when you don't feel like praying, because you feel like, are you even there, God?
Yeah.
But then you ask people to pray, and the Holy Spirit also he prays on our behalf, and then miracles happen.
Yes.
Every day. Every time I ask people to pray, when I feel like I cannot even pray, I don't have words, and I just cry, God answers prayers. Maybe it's not a healing, but it's definitely calming or giving me more grace and strength to carry on through the day, and then things start coming back to place. And that brings me to my next question, the diet. So mainly for Mom, because Mom was the one that was cooking for us and needed to do the shift, gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, all the craziness that needed to take place. So how different was it to cook
Yes.
autism diet?
Well, when he was younger, we didn't understand that we knew gluten, but other things I wasn't aware that he couldn't have milk products or egg products. And so, I did start using gluten-free when I made chicken for him, because he loved chicken and things like that. But we're beginning to see now the other restrictions he has on his diet, which is very difficult to. I don't have him every day like when you were working when you were younger. And when he was younger, when we picked him up from school and had him several hours in the afternoon. But now, when we understand the allergies he has and things, I think with, just being very careful about how.
But you can see that the food affects his behavior.
Yes.
And good food that he can have, and organic and nutrients, it really helps to calm him down.
Yeah.
And if he has like candy or anything that he's allergic to, even bananas, it comes a day or two after, but he's got inflammation and then behaviors happen. if he has a little burger, and boom, things happen.
Yes.
So the diet really affects a child's behavior, and the good diet, autism diet, really can do a lot of good things.
It was hard. It's hard for him, like it would be for any child. When you say no, you can't have
Mhm.
this, you can't have this, you can't have
I
this.
know.
You know, any child would not react very well
Yes.
to you can't have this cookie, you can't have this candy, you can't have this ice cream, you can't have this. You know,
Mhm.
that's a hard, because as grandparents you want to give them
Of
anything they
course.
want, and
Yes.
when they can't have it, it
Mhm.
affects them.
Yeah.
It's really difficult.
Yeah.
To even find products that he can have
Mm-hmm.
is difficult. More expensive, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He loves cookies and sweets, and
Oh
he's
yes.
so restricted
And he
to
knows
that.
where they are in the pantry and
Yes,
like in our kitchen. He knows exactly. You cannot hide things from
because
Michael.
he's so clever. You know,
Yes.
he knows every.
And he's watching every step. It seems like he's focused on the game, but he's watching. He's keeping corner of the eye, one eye on you, one
Yes.
eye on the game. And yes, so diet is really a big thing. That's why I am creating this program now. I'm working on the program, including the diet and what helped Michael, what helped us as a family to include in the whole protocol of curing autism. I mean, I'm not talking about curing autism, get rid of autism and you're healed, even though God can do that. But I'm talking about all the conditions associated with autism, like leaky gut syndrome, like irritable bowel syndrome, insomnia, anxiety, inflammation, diarrhea, constipation, all those things that often happen when you have autism. So stay tuned. We're working on the program together. This is United for Michael. All of us have the ring,
Yes.
Mhm.
puzzle ring, United for Michael, engraved inside. And that's the core. That's the warrior team, not the worry, but warriors.
Warriors.
Yes,
Yes.
United
I
for
might just
Michael.
add one thing about the food. It's hard when other people around him are eating something and he can't have it.
Yes, that's,
So we try to avoid doing that if we can, you know,
Mhm.
so he won't be wanting something we have and can't have it.
Mhm.
So that's sad,
Yes,
in
I
my
know.
thinking.
So another question was most effective treatments according to your observation, and you know what Michael had, including neuroacupuncture, including the diet changes, including occupational therapy, speech and language therapy, ABA program with Dimitra and Valentina in the past as well. And what do you think?
All of them work together. Actually.
Yes,
There's no
I
one.
agree.
I don't think maybe that stands out above the other. Maybe there is, but
Mhm.
to me, it was a combination of
Mhm.
all the programs.
I got ahead of myself a bit when I mentioned that a while ago because it's just now being asked. But
Mhm.
I think they all work together,
Yes.
for good.
For sure.
And then acupuncture, I think that really worked because it's a mystery how it works.
Yeah. And you
We
saw
saw such
effect.
a difference in him when he
Mhm.
came back.
Mhm. And that's the thing, when it's such a great treatment. And the one we went to was in New Mexico, in Dr. Jason and Linda Howe, Dr. Sunil Pai, and Maureen Sutton. They all worked together and they did this treatment, especially Dr. Jason and Linda Howe. They put those needles, but Michael didn't have all the required treatments. We just went there for the conference, and Michael was a case study to show how it works. And already doctors there that attended, they were shocked to see Michael's on the first day, and then on the last day it was like day and night difference. But if Michael had those treatments for several weeks, maybe even months, regularly, I believe it would help him a lot. But the problem is there are not too many doctors specializing in neuroacupuncture. There are many acupuncturists, but it's not the same as neuroacupuncture, because neuroacupuncture, the needles go in specific points on the scalp. They don't go in the brain, but they stimulate the neurons responsible for different parts of the brain, responsible for speech, responsible for movement. So if the child is hyperactive, they can put a needle in a specific point, and then the nervous system is calmed. If the child is aggressive, again, they put a different needle and the child stops having aggressive behaviors. If the child doesn't speak, they stimulate the part of the brain that is responsible for speech, and then putting those things together, the brain shifts back to its proper position, if you will, and then a child starts speaking. Maybe not clearly, but you saw when we were sharing the videos what a change it was. So there are treatments. Every child is different and everybody responds to different treatments differently. So you have to choose, you have to test and try many different treatments, and then you will find the right one for your child or for your grandchild. Just don't give up. Don't give up, because there are answers there, and always keep the faith, because God is working. We don't see the whole picture, but so many things happen for a reason. And even autism, even though God didn't create autism, but God can use your grandchild's or your child's autism to bring, better good for other people.
Absolutely.
What I had about this, about the acupuncture, if he could, an object of prayer for you folks would be to pray that he can continue those in New Mexico. Be a great help to him. It's expensive going out and back, but if you could pray about God making a way that they could go back and get the full treatment, then I'm sure Michael would come back a completely different little boy. So please pray about that God will make that possible. It is possible. All things are possible with God, of course.
Thank you, Dad. And the last thing I wanted to say is your message to other autism grandparents, because there are so many, parents and grandparents. Parents are more verbal and more vocal about their children's autism, and they usually become activists, but grandparents are always in the shadow, and they are the workers behind the curtain. They often carry this burden alone. They don't speak out. They don't have anyone to relate to, because other parents create groups and support groups and everything, but grandparents are always left alone. So do you have a message to other grandparents, people like you guys?
Just keep on believing and trusting. And if the problem is communication, actually, if we could understand how he's feeling and what he needs, and that's the big picture anyway. With everybody is communication. Communications, you don't sometimes. You just don't know how they feel and what they need, and so we're learning, and I'm hoping to get better.
They gave a standing ovation to Winston Churchill when he made a short speech. Never give up. Never, ever give up. That's all he said over and over, and they rose a standing ovation. That's what I'd say to you. Don't give up. There's always hope. Always. Never give up.
Yeah.
Keep on believing.
That's what keeps us going.
That keeps us going.
Tomorrow will be better. And
have faith in God. He's able to do it.
What about those grandparents that have tried everything, it seems, but they still lose hope? They don't see any positive outcome. It's like this illustration of a miner that goes and digs and digs and digs for years, and then we see a diamond hidden just few inches away, but he's like, oh no, I've been digging so far and now I give up. The same with autism grandparents, they're like, okay, we keep helping, we keep taking him to therapies, we keep adjusting our environment to suit, but there's no change, I give up. And I keep praying, but God doesn't answer my prayers. What do you say to those grandparents?
Well, we give up, we lose hope sometimes. We're just human, like you are. We lose hope, and then we begin to study about God, how much he loves us, realize that he loves Michael just like he loves me or anyone else.
Yes.
And God in his own time will make a way. If he did it in my time, it would not be right. But if he does it in his time, it'll be right. So I gain hope when I begin to think about how gracious God is, that he loves the world. He gave him his only begotten son for the world to die for us.
Yes.
And so he cares. It's not that he doesn't care, but he works in his own time. And his time is far better. But one thing to remember, that God is never late. He's always on time. He never is late. When Lazarus died, he was 4 days late, but he's right on time on God's schedule. And of course, he raised him. So just keep the faith and don't give up and don't lose hope like sometimes I do, but I gain it back.
Yes.
So when you lose it, pray, get a hold of God and get it back, and keep on believing that God's going to help your grandchild.
Yeah.
And He will in ways that we cannot understand.
And even if you don't feel like praying, even if you're like, I don't believe that my prayer is being answered and heard, ask other people who have this faith, who don't have this extra load on them, so they can lift the prayers up on your behalf, and God will answer.
Yes.
That's the thing. God will answer.
Just wait patiently on the Lord, and He'll renew your strength.
Yeah.
I work at a Burke County mission station, Christian station. They have a little plaque there that says, when you cannot stand any longer, kneel.
Wow. That's
what I say to do, kneel.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Anything else that you would like to share from your heart?
Just God bless you all. I know what you're going through. I can truthfully say that. I know exactly what you're going through. But keep on believing, and God will bring it to pass, I believe, with all my heart. If we keep on believing Him and trusting Him, because He says, unto Him that's able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. There's going to be glory in the church throughout the ages, world without end. God's able in you to bring about miracles for your grandchild.
Yes, absolutely. And that, Mom, if some other grandparents would like to contact you, would it be okay?
Yes, of course.
So
Absolutely.
I will post contact details below our video, and you can feel free to send a message, to send email, or even on Facebook. They'll be tagged in this video as well, so you can contact them, ask questions, or simply if you need to talk to someone who can understand what you're going through, please feel free, because it's the worst thing to be left alone and not have any support. So, a child on the spectrum has parents who are working and, everything is fine, but then grandparents are left alone. And like I said, many parents already have support groups, but not so many grandparents. So if we can create a little support group for other grandparents, and so you can learn how you can help your grandchild on the spectrum and share your experiences or your frustration, or even if you're lacking faith, those folks can help you and encourage you and just be there for you as a support group. So feel free to contact them. Thank you so much for coming.
And just one thing before
Yes.
you go, that on my website, she can give you the URL for the website. There is a link, Understanding Autism, and she has Mama Bear has a lot of good articles on that website. You look for that, and that'll be of some help to you.
Yes, I believe. And again, we'll post the link below the video, so please be sure to check it out, like the page, and we'll take it from there. We'll also have that coming and sharing like inspirational thoughts and motivational verses from the Bible, and just quick thought to encourage other people. And if you would like to subscribe to that, we'll have a specific channel for Dad's ministry to encourage other people. So stay tuned. Many good things are coming, and just stay positive and don't give up.
Amen.
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 Thank you so much, folks. And please give your comments. We see a lot of comments. Before we go, let me read. Sue, wonderful. God bless that y'all have a relationship with your grandson. My son's grandparents keep their distance because I think they fear the lack of understanding autism. That's exactly what I was talking about when we were saying about support groups, because they feel that there is no one who could understand them, that there is no one who can really relate to what they're going through, because it's a different thing to be a parent, be 24/7 with a child, and it's different when you have your grandson occasionally, and you just have to adjust to new reality. So support groups are very important, and Mom and Dad, Charles and Oleen Tinsley, are willing to start this support group for you guys. So contact your grandparents, your child's grandparents with this, dear folks, and I'm sure they will be able to help.
Amen.
Once again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing your
having
heart.
us.
And
Pleasure.
we'll have them again. If you have more questions, go ahead. We'll have them again.
Amen.
God bless you guys. Thank
God
you for
bless.
tuning in.